look up now?
Yeah, you can look up.
Oh, that one. That's a good one.
Here we go. All right.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of my more iconic fight series to date, and probably one of my most personal favorites. It's the first time someone actually let me be ringside, and it's also the first time seeing a friend and teammate winning a fight in such a devastating fashion. Fighting for a belt, fighting a local favorite, and the trash talk leading up towards this fight was hilarious. I don't know if you remember that.
There was a TV show, wasn't there?
There was a TV show. You got clipped what just happened, and then you ended up winning and broke the guy's arm, I believe.
It made a big bang, yeah.
Yeah. Did it mean anything to you to win that fight, to break his arm, to win with the belt as well?
Well, if I remember correctly, that fight, I wasn't going to take that fight because it was on Laura's 30th birthday.
Right.
And I said to Dennis, I don't know if I should fight on that. And he said, go on. And Laura said, yeah, go for it. So that was pretty cool in the first place.
Was Laura there?
Yeah. No, she was out partying with her friends. And I went and met up with her afterwards, which is even better because I won for a change. Yeah, he did. He hit me really hard. It split my cheek.
Jeez.
I remember. Yeah, I had a big split in my cheek for weeks after that. I reckon I should have probably have glued it. I've got a scar on my face from that. Yeah, it was pretty good. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it was pretty good because I remember thinking, he's surely not going to stand up. He's surely not going to stand up. That's the worst thing you can do to defend that. And he did, and he made the armbar probably 10 times tighter than it should have been. So I remember I got on his back and I slipped off, and as I slipped off, managed to snatch his arm up.
Yeah. I mean,
he didn't
that's
really.
Textbook.
It was beautiful. I love it. I like to point to it on the wall because it's got it up on the wall at the gym.
I mean, for someone coming into the gym for the first time, it's terrifying. But knowing you, I was just so happy for you in that moment, because it was one of your biggest wins to date, winning against a local boy as well on their turf.
Yeah, it was good.
In Middle Earth.
It was good. I remember Dev was there as well, yep. And so was Bam and all the old school guys in the corner. So. Yep.
Did you talk to him afterwards and ask him how his arm was?
I did. He was pretty. He said, good fight, well done. That was tight. And he said he was walking around with an ice pack on his elbow, I think, afterwards, with a big old bandage on it. But I don't know. I think it just popped. I don't think it was broken. He just made a bit of a crack, like when you crack your knuckles, but obviously his elbow.
Yeah. That was a fun one.
That was good.
Now, we both know Dennis isn't the loudest in the corner, but he's always giving comforting advice when you're fighting. What are some of the instructions he would tell you before the fight, and what goes through your mind before fights?
So this one, he was telling me, keep it tight, keep it right, and you'll be all right. So keep it tight, keep it right. It's Saturday night, you'll be all right. Hands up, he always says to you, stick to your game plan, stick to your game plan. So before leading up to fights, this one, I think, that was on Peter Hatton's show, yeah? Yeah. So this one, I remember he was like, he I don't know if he still does it, but for me, every time I had a fight and the fight was coming up, he would always send me a text message. He went through a phase of sending me a text message like every morning, like on the week of the fight, like, you've trained real hard for this, just remember the game plan, remember what we're going to do, and go through it. Because he's so good, and he's obviously himself is so good, he knows if you get stuck in a position, he gives you great instruction of how to get out of bad positions and what you should do to advance. But as you said, yeah, he's quite hard to hear when you're fighting. Yeah. You can normally hear when they're in the court. You can normally hear Phil clearer than Dennis. Yeah. But yeah, that was disappointing, that fight. We trained real hard for that. I looked like I'm in good shape there.
Oh, you were, mate. Judging by all the sponsors on your shorts, I think that was the time you became a full-time fighter, wasn't it?
That was when I was training. Yeah, I wasn't working, and I was training morning, afternoon, and evening.
What was that like?
It was brilliant. That was absolutely fantastic. I'd get up, and me and Dennis would drill in the morning, and then we'd do whatever was on at the gym, so like kickboxing or jiu-jitsu for an hour.
Yeah.
And then I'd normally go for every other day I'd do 10K. And then in between the other one of that, we'd do 5K and I'd go for a run with Tunjay. And then at night time, I'd do 3 classes back to back we used to do. Do you remember?
Yeah, back in the North days when no one worked.
Yeah, shirts off, mouth guards in. But that was fun. But you run out of money pretty quick doing that.
Oh, yeah. What were some of your thoughts prior to before fighting? So moments before you guys touch gloves, what goes through your mind?
Well, you've always the biggest fear that I always had fighting was I was going to get knocked out. Like I don't mind being submitted. I don't mind being TKO'd. I don't mind losing a decision. Well, obviously I mind all of them, but when you see someone that's fully unconscious, eyes rolling in their head, not knowing, like I didn't. That was the one that always used to. Please don't happen to me tonight. Please don't happen to me tonight. You know that feeling.
Was Laura there?
Laura wasn't there for that one either, no, because that was actually a week before my 30th birthday, I think, and Laura had secretly arranged for my 2 best friends from England to fly over.
All
so
right.
when I
James is one of the sponsors on there too.
Yeah, so Woody is at the top there, James Woodford. Yeah, so when I lost that fight and I messaged her, and she kept messaging me saying, "When are you coming home? When are you coming home?" And I said, I'll be home soon, whatever. And then I got home and the guys were hiding in a cupboard.
That's sweet. Now, from the same night, this particular moment, this was another moment for me to experience a friend and teammate losing in front of me, and there was nothing I could do. Even though I wasn't working officially that night, it taught me how to work at an event and remain neutral and remain unbiased, because I'm there to do a job, you're there to do a job. What was it like, in that moment?
So that was a bulldog choke.
Yeah.
And I thought in a million years, no way knowing that was going to do anything to me.
Yeah.
And if I remember rightly, I was like landing some pretty good shots from the top, and I was making my way around to his back. And then the next thing you know, I was having a good old nap on the middle of the mat. I thought I was, because that's the first and only time I've ever been put to sleep.
Not even at the gym?
Choke. Nah, never. Not even at the gym. Never. I've never been put to sleep, and that's the only time. And I honestly thought when I woke up, I was out partying.
Yeah, right.
And then it took me like, I would say that a good 10 seconds to realize what had actually happened. And I was just like, oh man, no way.
The funny thing is the first and last time I've been choked out was by Dennis at the gym. And when you're woken up from being choked out, for me, it felt like you're waking up on a school morning. It's a winter's morning. You don't want to get out of bed. People are like pushing you to wake you up. And then you're like, no, I'm still sleeping. And next minute you're half naked. Everyone's staring at you. Someone's pulling your mouth out.
I thought I'd been out and I got really drunk and I'd fallen asleep somewhere, and someone was waking up and saying, "Hey, man, you can't sleep here. You got to go."
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. I never thought that was going to work. He was so strong. Because I remember Braden fought him.
Yeah.
And Braden said he is one strong guy. And I was like, nah, he can't be that strong.
How does it feel to fight someone that your teammate has already fought? Did it give you some confidence?
Yeah, because I watched Braden, and Braden actually lost the first round against him, if I remember correctly, as well.
Yeah.
And then I think he choked him out in the second round.
Yes.
But Braden used to beat me up. Braden used to beat me up all the time. And then, you train a lot more and you think, oh, yeah, I can see what he's going to do. He's going to try and box me.
Yep.
And then he's going to try and wrestle me a bit. And he's pretty good. If I remember, Rusty was pretty good at like all round at everything. I think he went off and he won quite a lot of fights, didn't he? He got stopped by Dan Hooker. I think he got stopped by Dan Hooker twice, and then that was it. He didn't fight after that.
Yeah, right. Did you two both try out for the Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, we did. I seen him in up in Sydney. I'm pretty sure that was one of the tough smashes. The first one.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
They'd already. That was an expensive rash guard I got a day.
Well, they don't make those anymore, so it's a nice souvenir for yourself. Before the recent days. This picture here, it was after after Bazzy's loss on his fights?
Mate, that was heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking. As a fighter, trainer, cornerman, how does it feel to switch between both roles? And having been on the receiving end, were you able to come
See,
to
see what happened to Bazzy was what I said to you before, it's like my worst fear. And he didn't know what day of the week it was. So when I seen that happen, like you know Bazzy, he's invincible.
Yes.
No one hurts Bazzy. And he got hit clean. That was a clean punch. That guy put everything behind that. Yeah, that was. I think you see my face. I look pretty upset about everything.
It's like I said, seeing someone at the gym who feels almost indestructible to lose that way, you know, it shakes you a bit. It's like that could happen to anyone.
Well, he hadn't fought for a while, I don't think, before that one.
Yeah.
And he lost that first round, but it was pretty even. But he definitely lost it. And in the second round, he was starting to give it to him, and I was like, "Here we go."
Yeah.
And then bang, lights out.
What's your role in the corner, or is there something that you do specifically, or do you follow what Dennis?
It depends. It depends on what we decide before we go out. So I think on that one it was just me and Dennis, wasn't it? Was there only two of us, or was there a third?
I think either Phil or Klein might have been there too.
Oh, okay. So normally one of us has got the timer, one of us has got the bucket, and one of us is doing the instructions. So I warmed up with Bazzy before, so a bit of pummeling, and then Dennis does the pads, and then a bit of ground and pound, all that kind of business. And so I'm normally, if I'm in the corner, I'm the guy warming them up whilst Dennis is telling us what to do.
Yep.
And then I do like to be in charge of the bucket, I have to say, when I'm in the corner.
The water boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I never get the chance to go backstage with our guys because I'm normally working ringside or cage side. What's it like from the cage back to the change room? What's the vibe like during that moment?
From a loss or a win?
Yeah, from a loss.
Yeah, so when people lose, I try and gauge how upset they are, because obviously you're going to be upset, but some people take it better than other people. In this instance, Bazzy didn't know which way it was up or what day of the week it was, so everyone was pretty much silent. And then he asked us, he must have asked me about 20 times what happened.
Yeah.
He just kept saying, "So what happened then? Was I winning? Did I win?" It's like, nah. So everyone's a bit quiet after that one. You kind of just say, like, you know, man, you were winning. You lost the first one, you adjusted, you were winning the fight after that, and you got caught. It's basically all that happened.
Yeah.
And then he's like, great. Then he would agree with you, and then he'd ask you again what happened. But yeah, I do personally. I try and keep the mood quite light. I don't like it when everyone's deadly super serious and quiet, and you know,
you need someone like yourself to break the ice.
But yeah, you gotta, you know, it's upsetting you lost, you know, but it's not the end of the world. By the next week, you're gonna have forgotten about it. Be back at training. You're gonna be wanting to fight again if that's what you're doing.
Oh, definitely.
If you have a fight and you lose and you think that's it, I've had enough, and you know, I don't want to fight anymore. I went out on a loss, but most people want to finish on a win, don't they?
Well, funny, because I listened to one of the Japanese fights and they said that when the Japanese retire, their last fight should be a loss, because why else should you retire? If you're still winning.
Good then.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's good then, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
One of the first photos of young Ruderman.
Look at the state of that.
I think this was when you still had a job before you made the move to a full-time fighter, and we were still both pretty active in the fight team. I think out of everyone, you were the only one with a full-time job at the time. I was still a student. Anthony was still a student. Phil and Dennis were still PTs. What was it like balancing full-time work, balancing training full-time, fighting, and just
so I used to meet Dennis. I used to meet Dennis at the gym super early in the morning before anyone was there, and we would do like an hour of drilling, like normally in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
and then you'd spend all day at work waiting to go to the gym, basically. And as soon as you could get out of work, like I'd be the first one at the gym most days, waiting in the car park for them to open the door.
Mm.
And then you put your stuff in, and then you go for a run. You come back and do the class.
I mean, I didn't actually appreciate the work you put in until I started working full time myself, sitting behind a desk or just working, and then having to get ready to spar at 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Because back in those days, you would go pretty hard. There wasn't much of a warm up. There wasn't much of a routine. You just banged. And there were days, I think when I was 20, 21, there was days driving to the gym, I'd start sweating and just be very tense behind the wheel because I knew if I wasn't ready, I'm going to get ginned.
I know it's changed a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I was telling you, I think I was saying to, who was I saying it to? I think it was like Reese or someone. I said, man, we used to, the roller door would be up, the shirts would be off.
It's like a whole new world.
I know. Now people got their uniforms on. You can't spar too hard. I think it's good. Like we used to hit each other quite hard. But yeah,
it's a rare sight. You don't see stuff like that anymore.
Nah, you'd be on the bench. Look at my toe. Even my toe's bruised.
I mean, what isn't messed up? What's been the worst injuries you've had over the years?
Well, I broke my hand, didn't I? Then I shattered my thumb. So I broke my thumb on Jordan's head, and then I had to have 2 KYs put in it, and that was like 12 weeks until that was fixed. I snapped my.
Was that the same thumb that Bazzy? Was that the same thumb that Bazzy broke, or was that the other one?
No, Bazzy knelt on the end of my. That was my index finger that Bazzy knelt on and snapped the end of it off. So that was an open fracture. They kept me in the hospital for that and gave me IV antibiotics and drilled a wire down my finger on that one as well. But I fractured the top of my shin and snapped my ACL. What else did I do? Oh, my neck. I had a disc replacement in my neck because my neck disc fully ruptured and prolapsed and trapped the nerves in my arm. Which actually, did you see the photos on Instagram I put up on last week?
Yeah, actually, I thought that was an old photo.
So the one above it's gone funny now. So they gave me like a scan and put a needle in and filled it full of anti-inflammatory steroid.
I skipped past it because I thought that you weren't training, so there's no way you could injure yourself.
No, well, it just seems to have done it on its own, I think.
Jesus.
To be honest. So that was, but you can see my gold teeth in that one. And then obviously my ears, my nose, hands. Yeah, I've had heaps of injuries.
Well, luckily Laura's a nurse.
Injury prone.
Luckily Laura's a nurse. She could just train your ears if you had cauliflower ears.
She did. She used to all the time. Oy.
I can't tell which agent that is. What's it like being? Well, you're technically the gym enforcer. You're the one who runs the grading warm-ups. It's fun to have a hectic warm-up to get everyone ready. Have someone breathe down their necks if they didn't have the right patches. What's it like being basically the enforcer for the gym?
Well, Bazzy tried to claim that title last week in a group text message with Dennis, and I had to put him in his place for that one. I love it because I just think it's great. Why wouldn't you want to have a patch on your gi for the gym that you train at? Why wouldn't you want to represent your team? Why would you turn up with a dirty gi on for grading? Why wouldn't you have a nice clean white gi on for the grading? You know, why wouldn't you put a little bit of work in before you're going to get potentially promoted to more responsibility? It's the one day where it asks you just to dress nicely, and it's pretty simple, the rules to follow. Yeah, I mean, a lot of gyms you can only wear a white gi. You can only wear a gi that's by their gym. You can only wear a uniform, like Gracie Barra gyms. They make you wear a full Gracie Barra gi, rash guard, shorts. You got to wear your belt when you got no gi on, so people recognise your rank. It's just craziness. Having as long as you have, do you see any signs? What signs do you see in a student that they're going to make it in the long run? I think people that don't go crazy at the beginning. So if someone comes to the gym and they start training and then they're there 6 days a week, 2 classes a day, they're not going to last. They're going to burn themselves out. Like, 1 in 10 might do it. But the guys that come, so the guys I've seen that have have been really improving in jiu-jitsu are the guys that come 3 times a week, maybe. So that still leaves them like, oh, I want to come to train. But not so much that they're like so sore and they get injured because they're there every single day.
Yep.
Like, and then the other guys as well, I think they do both. So if you're doing the striking and you're doing the jiu-jitsu, then you can come every day because you're doing something different. And it's going to keep you interested. So you might do boxing twice a week and jiu-jitsu twice a week, or you might do Thai boxing and jiu-jitsu, or you might come to the wrestling and do boxing and do jiu-jitsu, or you might do some MMA on the week, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you do all the different ones and you keep coming, you're going to get fitter, you're going to get faster, you're going to learn more, and you're not going to burn yourself out because you're not doing the one thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a lot of people that are very, what's the word? You know, they sit on YouTube every night and they try and learn all these new fancy techniques. Come to the gym, keep trying to do them, and just don't work. Like I don't know many fancy techniques. I don't really try and do fancy techniques these days. I use the same thing over and over again. Rear naked choke, Kimura, or armbar. You know, it's going to be this or a
Back
dance.
to
It's
basics.
like four submissions that I'm just going to use on every single person in the gym. You know, you get the guys that come in and try and do birimbolos with 50-50 guard and hill hooks and inverted heel, you know, like I don't even know what the names of the stuff is, and I've been training for 12 years, so
yeah. It's a different day and age. That's well said though. Lastly, what's it like to photograph the photographer? I believe for this fight I gave you the camera, and I was given this fight on about a week's notice, and I was still trying to break into the scene, and I wanted to quickly work as well during that night. And I think you offered to take photos of me, and I think you drove me to the fight as well. What was it like handling the camera for one round?
Oh, I remember thinking, oh my God, how does he do this? For a start, your camera's really heavy, mate, if I remember. Because
That's
I
why my
thought,
forearm's so big.
how does he hold this all night and get a good shot? Plus, it's really hard not to take like 1,000 photos of the same thing. Like, I think that's a very good photo, though, Will.
That's a very good photographer too.
That's also a very, very bad referee.
Did you ever have him as a referee? As I think he ref Dennis's fight before too.
Do you remember he said, what? He could never hear. Yeah, but didn't he do Sean's fight when Sean just like was beating that guy on the ground and he had to like look at the referee and the referee was just like letting him carry on?
I think so.
But back to what you were saying. Yeah, I quite like taking photographs, but yeah, it's very difficult. I think you've got the eye for it because you do it. You obviously train, so you know when certain things are going to happen. Whereas these other guys that do the photography, not all of them train, do they?
Most don't.
Nah, they just like. It's quite easy, I think, to take a photograph through a ring. It's very difficult to take a photograph through a cage, yeah?
Yes, but the same concept still applies. Personally, I like to read the opponents. I like to predict what action is going to happen next, and I frame myself in a way where I anticipate it's going to happen. So I look through the cage fence. If I expect a kick or punch to land at a certain point, I'm going to wait for it and then get that moment. But there's been tons of times when I've missed or been blocked by the referees because a lot of things can happen, and it's just luck, being at the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah. You won that, didn't you? Was that your TP? That's not your TP night, was it?
That was that were all my TP nights.
Yeah. Did you win that?
I did win that one. Yeah.
Who was that against? Was that guy against the guy that had that like long bit of hair down the back of his head?
Yeah, and I think I gave him a boo-boo on his elbow too. Because there was another.
That's
I think
right.
that was
And yeah, because you have an inter club against him like the week before or something.
Nah, that was someone else. Yeah.
Okay.
But that was a good night because it got everyone in the gym together. It's funny because it felt like the smaller the gym was, the more busy it was on fight night. Everyone would be backstage. Everyone would be in the crowds. A lot more people were involved in the fight scene. Well, because back then,
you look pretty jacked in that photo as well.
I'm still pretty jacked now. Thank you for the chat.
That's
Thank
all
you for
right.
going through some old moments.